Okay, let's begin. So, it's that time of month where they release the freebies. I haven't gotten any of these yet. I actually do have this one. So, just letting you all know. Um, huh. Interesting. I do like that. I mean, that's some interesting set design. What kind of props? Huh. So if you want to get that, you can go ahead. It's free. There's a sale too, by the way. I'm just gonna open up this. Some interesting stuff here. Ooh, I should like that one. Oh, that would be really useful. Let's see what we have here. Yep. It's a couple of, there's actually a couple of good old animation packs from We Make the Game, and the other one is by Frank Climax. That's pretty good keyframe animations. Got this one. So they're about half off. Same with We Make the Game. So got a couple of these. Ah. Oh, we could probably fix those in iClone if they aren't smooth. Eventually, like, what's this? I want to see this. It's $49.99. Let's see. Let's have a look here. Kind of curious. Okay. Could use more finishers. So that's... I'm tempted to get this. Oh, hang on a second. Yeah, with the right cutting and everything. Hmm. This is like a judo. So many assets are there? That's not too bad. Wrestling. Let's look at. Let's see. I want to see this. uh, so if anyone wants to make a professional wrestling, okay, so that's a grapple. So I'll show you guys Frank's thing after this. So a bunch of hits. Okay. Must be some kind of bomb or something. Oh, is that? Yep, that's a choke slam. Don't know. It's impressive. So anyone wants to do like a pro wrestling thing, they can. Yeah, they can get this. It's like half off. I think it's like $50. That's cool. Let's see. Look at Frank. Frank always has some good stuff. I like Frank's stuff. Slash pack. Ooh. Let's go see what Frank has to say. Do. How much is this? Yeah, let's look at Frank. Let's see what Frank has to. Got katanas. Okay, you know what? Damn. I'm impressed. I always like Frank's stuff, you know. It's like what? Katana, assassin, warrior. You know, I'll add this to the cart. That looks cool. Anyway, yeah, I could probably put that in the iClone later on. Like, I'm just kind of taking a break. Been working on a project all day or all night, so I'm just gonna go back to my work. I'm tempted to get that Frank thing. You know, put it into iClone, see what it does, kind of make some edits eventually. I don't know, once I have the time. That would be fun. I mean, to do a video of something crazy. Yeah, this is just an update to that set I was working on last time. Here, I just gotta put some lights in for the light source. So just a little bit of detail here. I'm really still tempted to get that Frank thing. Yeah, just giving you guys a little heads up. I'm working with 5.2 right now, so iClone support hasn't come out yet. So I made a little sets here. I'm going to just kind of, what I'm going to do is make a hallway here, and kind of do some set design and set dressing here. Kind of add some like posters, some shelves. Got a couple ideas what to work with on this end. You know, I'm still tempted. I am really tempted by that Frank set. I got some PayPal money on that end from a job, so I might. I don't know. I'm tempted. Yeah, I could do probably some crazy camera work or something. So let's see. I'll probably put some probably more clothes around here. Kind of make some clutter here. Oops. Yeah, make some clutter here. I'm working on the second set right now. I have a couple sets I'm working on right now, so we'll save that. This is the second set. As you can tell, I still have some time. Here I have to kind of texture everything. Kind of making some movie posters here. Making quick adjustments here and here. I'll probably put in some posters, some neon lights. Probably will change the change this maybe to make to suit the actor. You know, because I'm gonna have someone sit on these stools, so if it doesn't fit, I'll probably find something or make something. Change. I don't know if I should change the frames, but overall, I think it's going pretty decently. Like I said, I'll probably work on this more once I have the time. But yeah, just kind of pay attention to my light sources, what I'm doing with this. Because lighting is kind of important with Unreal, especially with color. Yeah, you can see how, like, I would do, yeah, I'm kind of change it to, maybe I should actually, yeah, change it to more fluorescent here, a lot more bluish tone. Probably do some red here. Just because of the beer sign. And you do. is you want to do what's called the source length. You want to change it to maybe something like red. So let's actually put that there. Something like that. Much better. Kind of change this and this. Shit. Just like that there. Maybe. Kind of see what kind of changes that make, you know. Kind of adds a little more life to your scene. So, and I'll just duplicate that with the little beer sign here. Change this to more blue. And there we go. You kind of see the improvement by doing that. Just kind of matching your light sources. I think that's kind of important when it comes to your lights. Like that's what I kind of do with light sources. Is I don't rely on just the lumen or the emission map. You'll have to kind of play around. You have to use rectangular lights here. So I got some rectangular lights here. I found, like, for this little jukebox, I put a light source in here inside. So if we actually I'll show you what it looks like once I make a level sequence out of this. And let's put this into our C camera. Let's just change it there. And there's a couple of things too I want to bring up as well, especially for anybody who wants to do like a custom widescreen aspect ratio. So let's actually just change this to 2.391, and let's put this into cinematic. A couple of things you need to do. So let's go through here, make sure everything is good. So when it comes to crops, crop is good. Current aperture is 2. And actually I put the squeeze factor at 2. So what this will do is if you have an anamorphic lens, I'll show you. Oops, sorry. We have to go to our main camera. You kind of see how everything's at an oval, right? This kind of replicates an anamorphic lens. So that's for anybody who wants to create an anamorphic lens in Unreal. So what you do is you want to set your squeeze when it comes to your camera at 2. Sorry, I'm using a plugin for kind of gives you cinematic cameras. So when you go to your camera component, there's something called squeeze factor, and you want to put that at least a 2. There's a couple of things you want to do as well when it comes to making your scene here, especially cameras. A couple of advice I have. One is you don't want to rely on autofocus too much. I think autofocus is, auto exposure. Auto exposure doesn't work out very well. So what I like to do is I like to manually set my exposure. So then you kind of set the manual. You kind of set your some of your settings here down below. You can use exposure compensation, which is perfectly fine. So I can set this to 5 or 2 if it's too dark, but I think 1 is fine. The reason why is because anytime you when you actually do like a scene, you kind of notice it kind of brightens up every time you put your camera in. It's just trying to adjust the scenes. You don't have full control, so just letting you know. Always set your stuff in auto. Don't just turn off auto exposure. It causes more trouble than it's worth. Oh, hey there, Sean. A couple things you want to do. There's something called bloom. So you can just adjust here. So you can, I like to set at 1. There's also gives you 2 settings. Personally, I just like to do standard and keep it at 1. I don't like to, and it also creates like this very distracting lens flare. So what I do is like kind of set the intensity down to at least 5% of what it normally is, or I cut it down to 95%, or cut down by 95. Hey there, what's going on? Let's see what else. You can also like set up a vignette. So the camera has it here. You can actually set one up for Unreal. You can also mess around with what's called slope and toe. So we can just adjust here. But I'm just going to leave it to what they set. You can actually add film grain, which is pretty cool. I like film grain is I like film grain, like works out pretty well. I usually add it in post for these kind of things. Along with kind of shooting at 24 and adding a little bit of just post-process grain, it adds a little bit of a cinematic flair to it. Let's see. A couple things you need to know. When it comes to Unreal, people often leave the aperture at either 1.8 to like, well, you can change the aperture. I'll show you. So let's set it to 8. You notice that it opens up. You're not going to have much of a shallow depth of field compared to 1.8, but you're going to have to light the scene. That's okay. Just cheat. You can just cheat. You can just set the exposure compensation. But you kind of notice compared to 1.8, which this is, we're at an aperture, we're at 8 stops, so let's do 1.8. And let's just change our exposure to at least 1. You kind of notice it was a lot more focus when you set it to 8. It's taking in a lot more light, so you don't have that shallow depth of field. If you put it at 8 or 4 or 16 or 22, but keep in mind, the more you open up your aperture, especially if you're in manual, you're going to have to have to put a lot more lighting. They used to bake actors in like intense light when they did, back in in Hollywood, they would bake actors in like this really intense light, because especially for anything that involves a deep focus. Any deep focus shots, you're going to have to just really bake in lighting because you'll need it. But that's just me. That's just a dumb little film thing. So, and the reason why, I notice a lot of people using very shallow depth of field nearly all the time. I like to shoot deep focus once in a while. But it depends on your storytelling. Depends on what you want to do. If you want your actors to focus on a certain thing, you can also do something called rack focusing. So I rack focus once in a while in iClone. So I'll kind of change from one focus to the other. I don't do it as much as I used to, but you'll see me do it like probably maybe once or twice every production. So I'll kind of change focus from one thing to the other. So I can let's just do a quick rack focus here. So let's change the manual focus from here And then let's focus on the arcade machines in the back. And then we just change that. Oops. And you want to do a smooth focus change. So just little tips here. Just like that. So kind of cool to play around with it. But yeah, you kind of notice that without these lights here, kind of notice like where your light sources are, right? Just how much of a difference does that make just to play around with your light sources? So that's just something you get to really consider when it comes to Unreal. I see this a lot with a lot of newbie Unreal directors who come from like iClone setting. They don't like, especially like with Lumen, or they just rely on the glow maps and everything, but they don't play around with point lights or the rectangular lights. I like working with rectangular lights for my lighting. And doesn't that make a huge difference? I'll just turn off these and turn them on. It just kind of brings well, let's just change it to like maybe a font. Let's do something. But doesn't that just make a huge difference in your lights, like in the scene? It just kind of adds a little bit of depth. So that's something to consider. It just adds so much. It really does. So there's one little thing when it comes to lighting your scene. You kind of see me do it here. Probably change that lighting a little bit more just to make, to increase the radius. Yeah. I'm almost done with the scene. I'm just going to, once iClone starts supporting 5.2, which that should be pretty soon. I'm nearly done with the scene as well. I'm going to be starting to animate some characters. I'm going to put on my suit, my little Rococo suit, and just kind of work out on get the scene done, and start filming this production I've been kind of putting off of for a long time. I want to get that done along with Shockbreak. Shockbreak's I'm working on the fighting scene right now. When I get the time, I'm still working on somebody's project, but let's actually go through something I wanted to bring up. I brought it up earlier today on One Gun Stream, like he mentioned, the 360 shot. I want to show you how to do that. I'll do it in iClone, I'll also do it in Unreal. So I want to make a completely new level. I'll just do an open world. So let's bring in, I'm just going to bring in a basic shape. So I like to bring in the shape here, and let's actually just do a camera. And actually, when it comes to rendering, we're just going to turn that off. So what I like to do is, let's add another level sequence. Probably just going to delete these because it doesn't matter. And let's bring in a camera. And let's bring in another shape. Let's just bring in this. Let's change the size. And when it comes to our sphere, and a camera. So this is how to do my little hero shot. So I like to let's go to, where's my sphere? Let's make that movable, and obviously the camera is going to be movable, but I like to attach it to my sphere. So when I move my sphere, the camera moves. So what this will do is, let's just add in our animation. And let's set it to 2500. And let's do 150. And then let's just move it here. And 300. Here. And you kind of see the camera moving just slightly. So if I do this, let's go 600 and do negative 360. Yeah, you can tell. That's okay. 450. So let's go with 270. And then, yeah. Yeah, I can see where I have that issue. That's okay. Because, oops. I want to change it to 180. 450. $270. Oops. Let's see what happens if we go to 600. If we go to 0 directly. Oops. Yeah, it wants to go in a direction. So, yeah, it's like iClone. So what you do is you just go to 270. And just like that. Oops. It wants to go back. Oh, that's a problem. Or, you know, you can just do like that, you know. Just do it in like quadrants, 90 degrees, so it doesn't like want to flip back. And even better, let's go to the camera. And we're going to bring in our location of the camera. So let's do this, and you can actually like zoom in. And then you will just to complete the whole Michael Bay experience, which I'm a fan of, but he does this little thing where, like these little hero shots. He does it all the god dang time. And that's how you do it. So. It's if you really, let's make it super epic. Shall we go down here, bring the camera just slightly down. Oops. So we make it dip. Whoops. So we make it dip down a bit. We make it like -1 and then move up like this. So that's really, and not that, but you also got to zoom in the camera lens. You also got to do the ultimate Michael Bay and just kind of play around with the goddamn. You got to shoot that son of a bitch on a telephoto lens, just like that. Well, maybe not that dramatic, but we gotta shoot that son of a bitch on a telephoto lens because, you know. Because you just gotta make it. You just gotta make it. You gotta make it epic, you know. You gotta just do that son of a gun. Because that shot is just gonna make the audience go crazy and just wondering, wow, is he like a visionary? Oh, son of a bitch. How does he do it? How? Yeah, you see, just adding that little telephoto lens kind of makes it zoom in much faster. This is the Michael Bay effect, by the way. So, if anyone wants to do a Michael Bay kind of shot, you know, when it's just spinning around and round and round, that's how you do it. We're in fact, we're not doing 16:9. No, that's for amateurs. We're not doing that shit. So what we're going to do is we're going to just do we're going to do a 35. Yeah, we're going to do one of those. And fuck that. We're going to, yeah, there we go. We're going to crop that son of a bitch to at least there, and then we're going to screw around with our lens. Yeah, there we go. And we're actually, no. We're going to do an 85mm prime. There we go. So now, what's our, oh no, we're going to have ourselves a really good aperture. We're going to do an 8. No. We're going to do 24. And you too can do this. I don't know if he's watching, but yeah, this is the Michael Bay effect. So just have a character just stand and kind of do like a slow turn, and that's your shot. There we go. And you know what? Screw the sky sphere, screw this, and screw that, and screw the skylight, and screw this. And this in particular. Screw all that god dang nonsense. We're gonna make that son of a bitch and freaking we're gonna use our golden hour, boys and girls. We're gonna use the god dang full yeah, there we go. So we're going to simulate real sun. There we go. And we're going to at least do this at 7. We're going to do this thing in golden hour. Because if you're not doing this in golden hour, you're not doing it right. Let's do this in like 5 lux, and we're going to change that son of a gun to 32. Let's do it 3000. Right? Yeah. No, that's not going to work. No. We need some diffuse light on this son of a gun. And we're not going to put it in that plain white light because it's boring as hell. No. No plain white light. We're going to put in some golden hour light. We're going to put in some golden hour light. We're going to film a Michael Bay scene like it's no tomorrow. Hey, we're filming Michael Bay scenes. Because I actually wanted to show one gun, that little scene I was doing. Like he was wondering about a 360 scene. So I call this the Michael Bay shot. Actually, we're going to change this. Because I don't have a character because iClone doesn't support 5.2. But just imagine a character just looking off and looking somewhere else. Not looking at the camera, looking somewhere else. And that's how you do Michael Bay. So, that's how you do a Michael Bay shot. And I just, like I said, this how to do one. It's Bay. It's the Michael Bay 360 camera shot that everyone. And not only that, but you saw this a lot in. Oops. You saw this a lot in 2000 Cinema. Like they always like. And you know, here's something with also Michael Bay that he likes to do. So we're just going to completely like cannibalize Michael Bay productions. Just for the sake of funny. We're gonna just break down what Michael Bay likes to do a couple of things. He likes to do like 4 different shots. And they're always the same. They're always like a lot of depth and layers and freaking stuff. There's always like, let's put in random bullshit. And you know, he's a great second unit director. And this is not just me being a smart ass or anything like that. He does really, really good. Like, if I would hire the man to do second unit work in a heartbeat. And that's not a diss on second unit directors. Like, literally, he's really good at like capturing the moments, but doing it for about 120 minutes or so gets really exhausting. So that's why a lot of people just rag on him. So he likes putting like a bunch of stuff in the. So we'll just make a bunch of this. Just scatter it. We have some. Just pretend these are trees because I didn't have any trees installed in this project file. You too can do this hero shot, but yeah, this is how you like. This is just like your typical 360 hero shot. You want to have a lot of stuff here just to create that little parallax effect. You know, just imagine them looking off. It can create quite a cool moment, but just it's only for like once. You can actually like create that little moment there. I don't think I've done one of those 360 shots in a long time. Usually, I just like to. You like to. I don't do as much of those. Like these used to be really popular in the mid 2000s to 20 aughts. Or the 2010s. They used to be popular with these, but nah, not so much. You don't see that as much anymore. What the hell? Let's just put in some motion blur. Cause why not? Everybody loves a little bit of motion blur. Three, two, one. Yeah, you don't really see those. You don't see these kind of shots anymore. Or not that I know of. I haven't seen it, but yeah, you could do. Let's talk about some crazy dynamic shots here. Sorry, my voice is cracking up. Been screaming at people all day. So let's do another shot. Camera shake source actor. Where the fuck did that come from? I have never seen. Is this a new thing? I want to see this. No, I think someone's bullshitting me. I think there's someone messing with me. So how to make one of these is pretty easy. You just go to right click. Sorry, we'll do this again. Right click, blueprint class, camera, shake, base. And I just select that. So you click on that and you just exit out of it because it doesn't matter. And here, root shake pattern. Let's do a parallel. Timing should be at 0. And then you can compile and save it here. So when we use the camera shake, you can use the blueprint, extend, and see how that works. See a little bit of shake, but not too much. This is pretty useful, especially if you're doing like dolly shots or anything like that. If you're using like trying to replicate a dolly, just kind of moving in just slightly. So let's do a transform. Something like this here. Kind of feels a lot better if you just add a little bit of camera shake in your movements. It doesn't feel as robotic. So I'll just add a little camera shake action here. So if you want to do that in your camera movements as well. Hopefully that helps you. It's mocking Michael Bay, giving like quick camera advice. Yeah, you can also do the same thing in iClone. So what I'd like to do is you make a sphere, set it as the dummy, make your camera. I like to set my camera at 0, 0. Well, yeah, set your camera at 0, 0, and 0. I know I like to just kind of point. Like, this could be pretty useful for somebody. So, here. So, I like to attach the dummy. And now I can move my dummy and my camera around just like that. I like to do that for these, like if I have to do like complex movements, because you know how when you rotate the camera it does that little weird rotation, you don't get that true arc, you get like a little where it just kind of moves funny. I'll show you. So if we do here, if I need to, let's make a room. And let's put an actor in. You know how it is if you need to, like, you don't get that perfect arc, you get like that really weird angle when you do rotations. So let's do here, and then let's do like one of these angles here. So does that. You can actually like change it here like this. This is just an extreme example, but what I like to do is just put the ball in the dummy here so I can rotate it, so I can make rotations like this. And as long as they kind of like the origin matches the character, you can also attach it to the character and have them walk around, or attach a dummy so when they're walking you can actually move the camera, so you can have one, like you can have this kind of move here and then you can do that here. So we'll see that. You know, something like this. Hopefully, I mean, that's how you kind of get really smooth camera work. I like doing that method. Helps a bit. So what did we talk about? Camera shake here, better movement. Yeah, I like usually with these kind of like with anything really dynamic. I like to. I'll just let me go do a quick example here. I'll show you. So yeah, that's how you kind of get that really smooth camera angle from an arc. Just attach it to a dummy and rotate it. So I did a scene earlier. Let's mute the music. I don't know how well this is going to play on your end, but yeah, there's a lot of motion blur. Characters in the center. So let's go through here. Center. So I changed her perspective, so she's no longer in the center to the street art. Okay, here's another one. So just kind of watch what I do here. So she changes from center. Camera jumps. She's still in the center. But watch what what I do here. Just watch the background. It kind of stretches. Now it kind of creates this uneasy feeling. That is what is called a dolly zoom, or the vertical effect. Pretty easy to do. I'll show you how to do this soon. Right there, kind of watch the action. Lighting. I kind of did a multiple rack focus, so I focused on the cat, her, back to cat, and that's the shot. So, kind of a couple of fun little tricks. I'll show you how to do this dolly zoom. So it's pretty simple. So we have here, so what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in. Let's actually just make it very dramatic. And then I'm going to pull my focal length. Oh, sorry. Let's do a 70. Let's do a universal zoom lens. So as you pull in, I kind of push out like this. You kind of notice how the background changes. This is a dolly zoom. This is a very dramatic one, but this is kind of creates tension. There's a little scene I'm going to work on for a movie where I'm going to do the exact opposite. So what I'm going to do is this. So I'm going to frame like this. I'm going to frame like this. So it's going to go to 55. To 85. So everything kind of closes in. So I'm going to do something similar like this, but it's kind of a slower, like a very slow burn. Like the walls are kind of coming into this one character. And that's kind of an interesting effect to do. So it depends on what you're trying to do in your storytelling. So everything kind of closing in. You kind of see how everything kind of compresses. And that's really, it's an interesting storytelling technique if you want to use that. So what you want to do is you want to change your focal length, and you want to kind of, if you're pushing in if you're dialing in the camera, then you zoom out with the lens at the same time, and vice versa. So that's just something worth doing, I think. Not many people play around with that effect. But it kind of creates it's an interesting effect. I actually do it quite a few times. So just imagine somebody like just in a room, and suddenly everything comes closing in. You know, I think that's a pretty good storytelling technique, and that's something to think about. So let's just experiment with the squeeze factor 2. So really hope this helps y'all. I can imagine like some really interesting storytelling ideas with it, but yeah, I'm probably gonna call it, get some rest and call it good. Hopefully, over the weekend I can do more streaming. We'll see if iClone 5.2 support for 5.2 comes out. I can work on some scenes, actually get a couple ideas to work with. So hopefully this helps you. If I'll probably call it. Probably gonna